The Saints Row reboot has been a disaster from the moment it was announced. The official trailer received major backlash, then the game came out and it was way worse than we thought, and I figured that we could go through the entire Saints Row reboot timeline because this game is truly the definition of everything wrong with AAA releases. I have a bunch of things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, or support the channel via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So this all started when the Saints Row reboot had been delayed. We got the first trailer, it didn't do very well, it received many dislikes. I mean, it was ratioed, and then right after that we found out that it was delayed by 6 months, and after people criticized the developers, they decided to lash out at critics. It says Volition delayed the despised Saints Row reboot by 6 months, assuring players that they will work hard to improve upon the game, which some might label as a fruitless endeavor. Volition has been well aware of the deserved criticism their reboot has received, and they have seemed to mostly ignore it. When Volition's chief creative officer announced a delay, they should have expected the same treatment. As before, the customers voiced their outrage with the terrible reboot, and Volition waved off their criticism as little more than hate. I always say this, but companies do need to listen to critics because a lot of the time, these are fans. These are people who might buy your game, and these are people who were probably interested in it at first, and if they are not interested and they do not buy your game, it's going to be a failure. You need to get as many people to purchase your title as possible, so you need to listen to feedback and to criticism because we just want you to do better. Unfortunately, I don't really know if Volition can do better, and of course this game came out and it was a disaster, but they should have listened to consumers. Someone had said, we just want the original characters back. If you aren't going to do that, at least bring back Johnny and Pierce. And then they said there won't be any large changes to the content. The delay is to give us more time to ensure that the quality of the game is as good as it can be. We love the creative choices we have made. We are confident in them, so they will not be changing. And I'm glad that they were confident in their product, but their product did terribly. It didn't do well because it wasn't what consumers wanted, and they should have listened to us from the get-go. Then we had this. Volition stands behind new game, condemns backlash as hate. I hate when this happens because companies look so pathetic when they just say, oh, you guys are all haters. And of course, this was kind of an iconic moment, and not for the right reasons, but somebody had said, I know you won't listen, but if you want fans to stop complaining and giving y'all shit, maybe just replace these clowns and give us the real Saints. And then of course they used the haters gonna hate gif, which infuriated consumers. When this happened, there were many people who said, I canceled my pre-order, I refuse to support your company and, you know, this social media manager that's running the account. And then of course the game finally released and it faced the wrath of consumers. As you can see, this is the PlayStation 5 version. It's sitting at a 61 Metascore for critics, which is pretty terrible, and then a user score of 2.9, and if you look through the different platforms, 2.5. I mean, it doesn't go over a 3.0, which of course is just a disaster for Volition. Consumers were very upset with the choices that they made. People canceled their pre-orders, refused to buy it, and then only like a month after release it started going on sale. It was $10 off, and then for Black Friday recently it was down to $30, which of course it's only 3 months old at this point. It really shouldn't be that low, but it was. And then after the release happened, people criticized it and were upset. Everything started back up because of two situations. The first was the community manager. The community manager decided to go on Twitter and call us terrorists simply because we were criticizing the game. She, of course, decided to hide after making these statements. She locked her Twitter account and she even blocked me personally. So I know that she saw my 2 videos on her. But this caused a massive uproar. People were furious over this. We shouldn't be called disgusting things simply for criticizing a game. I understand that sometimes a couple of people can go a little bit too far and be mean on the internet, but ultimately you could just block them, or if a lot of people are tweeting at you, you could just not look at their posts. But the Embracer CEO also came out and said that they hoped for a greater reception to Saints Row, and it didn't do as well as they thought it was going to do, and they were just kind of disappointed that fans didn't want to buy this game. Now, this whole situation ends with Volition moving from Deep Silver to Gearbox Entertainment. Embracer Group is the parent company of both companies, but they decided that they were going to move Volition from being a subsidiary of Deep Silver to Gearbox Entertainment. Of course, Gearbox isn't that great, but they decided to do that because they wanted new management looking over Volition and kind of deciding what they were going to do. And the Saints Row reboot has been deemed a disaster not only by the community, but also by, Embracer. I mean, they said that they were disappointed with the numbers and all of the controversy. So at this point, I don't really think that anything else is going to happen with the Saints Row reboot. They haven't announced any kind of DLC or major story content. I personally think that they'll put out a small round of DLC, probably paid DLC because they're desperate, but I think that they'll probably put out maybe one small round of DLC and that's going to be it. They're not actually going to support this game for a long time. People have been very sad with what this game turned out to be. I mean, this was a massive controversy, a massive situation, and it just kind of encapsulates what is wrong with AAA games. They released a full price game that they marketed as this amazing Saints Row experience. They attacked consumers, they didn't really listen to what we wanted, and ultimately the game failed because of all of these things. You need to listen to your consumers, you need to give us the content that we want, or else a situation like this is going to happen. I do hope that other companies look at this and go, wow, we don't want to go in that direction, we don't want to push people away, we don't want to attack consumers. Only time will tell though, but as you can see, Saints Row Reboot was a massive failure. I mean, it was controversy after controversy. I don't see a way that they can save this game, and it has been deemed a failure. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.